Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're listening from. I know that there is a time zone. I wouldn't say a challenge, but that's how the world is, right? You're listening to Can You Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I have a very important guest. We'll be talking to us about his story and ways in which we can improve our lives, improve our relationships. And, we like to listen to this guest because he has so much to share, so much to offer. And it's Paul Zolman. 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 I'd like to perhaps pronounce that last name, because truly sometimes I have a problem with surnames. Some very unique surname. Mine is White, so you know how easy that is, right? So I'm going to let my guest in, and we're going to talk on a number of issues. Let Paul in. Paul, how you doing?
Hi, Dr. White. Thanks for letting me be on your show. I appreciate this.
You're welcome. That last name, sir. What's that last name?
Zolman.
How you pronounce that?
Zolman.
Oh, well, I'm perhaps got it.
You did it just right.
All right.
Good job.
Nice. Thank you, Paul. Paul, the first thing I'd like to ask you, who is Paul Zolman? Who are you?
Paul Zolman is a person that has learned to love people, that there is something to love about everyone. And there are bad things about people too, and those things you don't love. But I've become a person that focuses on loving those things that are the good part of people. I've developed an attitude of what can I love about that person, what's right about that person. That's the way.
Yeah. All right. I always ask my guest this question. It has to be expected. Paul, at a tender age, 7, 10, what can you remember, Paul? How do you remember you back then?
Say that again?
How do you remember you back then at a tender age of 10, 12?
So what do I remember about being age 10 or 12?
Yeah.
When I was 10, I actually it was a traumatic time. I grew up in a family of abuse,
Okay.
and it was not a good time. So, Dr. White, I learned. Most people learn the right thing to do, what you should be doing. I learned it totally opposite.
Okay.
First I learned what the wrong thing to do is. Then I said, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to continue with that. I've got to look for something different because this is not going to work for me. I don't want to raise my kids like that. I don't want to have them in that type of situation. I just want a better life. And so that's where I came from.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Most of my guests, myself, I grew up in a sort of a dysfunctional family setting, and most of my guests seems to have grown up in that sort of setting as well. It seems like for persons, I think I'm a bit younger than you are, but we are getting there, and I think most of us have other challenges. But I always say, Paul, adversities are not for us, but for those who will be going through it. That we can say, hey, this is how you go through this. All right? Yeah. Paul, you have something to say? You were saying something, Paul?
Yeah. So about that adversity, I denied it most of my life. I saw it growing up, and I before I got married, I determined that I did not want to raise my children that way. But it was just kind of something I said I didn't want to do. But when you learn the vocabulary of that side of the stick, so to speak, you learn the vocabulary of all that. It's hard to break away. It's almost like you have to learn a whole new language. So the vocabulary I was learning, Dr. White, is the vocabulary of anger, the vocabulary of abuse, the vocabulary, the jokes, everything that was associated with that side of the spectrum. And as I got out of it, I thought, well, what's the other side of the spectrum look like? And so I thought there was actually a paradigm shift, an event that happened in my life. That about 15 years ago, I was dating a woman, and it was time to take her up from where I live up to Salt Lake City, where my brother lived, for Big Brother approval. And the first thing that happened when I took her in there was my sister-in-law pulled her aside within earshot. I could still hear what they were saying.
Yeah.
And said, the only emotion that the Zolman family learned growing up is anger. At first I denied it, then it made me mad.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, maybe she's right. And from that point, I decided I want to change that perception. I don't want that to keep haunting me the rest of my life. So I decided to start reading the book, The Color Code, and the 5 love languages. And I kind of settled on the information in the 5 love languages. And I did that because the principles sounded true to me. Those 5 love languages reconciled to the life of Jesus Christ, which I'm a believer.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then I developed a system to apply that in my life. I couldn't get the 5 love languages out of the book.
Yeah.
I read it 4 or 5 times. I thought, you mean, Dr. White, I'm supposed to guess what love language you are and kind of cater to that?
Yeah.
I grew up in an abusive home.
Yeah.
That wasn't love.
Yeah.
So what? Who am I to say what love is? But catering, no, that didn't sound like love either. And then the second thing that Dr. Chapman, bless his heart, I love the 5 love language principles. I love them. But the application of, if I take this survey and find out what love language is my primary love language.
Yeah.
Well, growing up in an abusive family, of course it's going to be physical touch, because that's what you thought love was.
Yeah.
You thought that if I'm not getting whacked, I'm not getting loved.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the feeling that you had.
Yeah. Because it has been learned, right? If you are getting abused, physically abused, as a child, it becomes a learned thing for you, and you believe that's the case. That's how you should deal with situations.
So that's all I felt for love. So physical touch was my primary love language. But what if it was gifts? Hello, Dr. White.
Yeah.
My love language is gifts. What do you have for me today? I mean, it's just a little bit awkward. What do? You're supposed to advertise that? I mean, and have people cater to you? That's not love either. So to me, as I've found out more about love, it's more of giving it away.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you have control over. You absolutely don't have any control over it coming your way.
Yeah.
You can send it out and trust. Big deal. Trust. And it's a big deal, especially for people that have been abused. Who are you going to trust?
Yeah.
You lose a little bit of that trust, but trust that whatever you send out, after many days will come back. When it's about love. I found out early on, the first thing that I learned was if you send anger out, guess what? You get immediate return on your investment.
Yeah.
It comes right back.
Yeah.
You want that? Nobody wants that. So if you're going to send anger out, you can expect it to come right back.
Yeah.
So this is all about sending love out.
Yeah.
So I thought, as a kid, I really liked games, Dr. White.
Yeah.
I thought, I wonder if I could make this a game. So I contacted Dr. Chapman and I asked him, are you licensing those icons they have for each one of those love languages? And, he created the book. The book was first published in 1992. So 30 years old. It was pretty old. I thought, and thankfully he said, no, he's not licensing them.
Okay.
So I found a intellectual property attorney in my own town here.
Yeah.
He said that theory is not copyrightable. Application is.
Oh yeah.
So I created a new application. I created my own icons and made it a game. So this is what it looks like here.
Okay. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Okay, fine.
So it's a dice, and it's got the 5 love languages on there. So you see gifts,
Okay.
you see touch,
Hmm.
time,
Oh,
service, and then the words.
cool. I love that. I love that. Those of you who are listening on your favorite podcast platform, you might not be able to see this. So maybe you have to go over to Canute Exploration on YouTube and subscribe, right, and share as well, and see this, right. And it's a dice with the love languages on it. Go ahead.
So there's the 5 love languages, 6 sides on the dice.
Mhm.
The last side is surprise me, has a hand with a question mark on it. So on that particular day, Dr. White, what you're doing on that day is that you are watching for opportunities to do random acts of kindness. So there's just 2 instructions. You roll the die every day. That's the love language you practice giving away all day that day. All day. It's not like I did the dishes. Woo-hoo, I'm done.
Right.
It's not an event anymore.
Yeah.
You're developing a mindset that what is there to love about that person? What's right about that person? And you're so busy with that, and there's so many opportunities to watch for that you'll never go down that road again that says, what's wrong with that person?
Right.
Or that critical road.
Yeah.
So you eliminate that criticism, you eliminate the judgment, you eliminate the world doesn't need one more critic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
We need more people that are loving. And so this is the tool that I have to share that would help
Okay.
make that happen.
You're talking about it will help. But how can that tool transform a person? How can we expect it to transform us?
That's a really good question, Dr. White. And the answer to that is the person really has to want to be transformed a little bit, at least a little bit to start with. And they've just got to take the 2 seconds. I know it's a little bit of time, but it's not a lot of time. This is one of those investments that you like to make. Everybody likes to put just a tiny bit in and get a big return on their investment.
Yes.
Everybody wants that.
Mm-hmm.
Put 2 seconds in, roll the die at the beginning of the day, watch for opportunities all day that day, and then if you feel inclined, you can report to yourself or you can report to someone else. I developed also a journal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Inside the journal, you can write what you rolled that day, opportunities that you saw to love in that way that day, and then what you did about those opportunities.
Okay. So Paul, you are basically saying this is like a guided chance. Each day you will roll the dice, and what comes up, you exert your behavior accordingly. You behave accordingly.
That's right. It kind of can be called a divining tool.
Okay.
It says this is what I'm going to do today. It's could be a manifesting tool. Whatever word that you want to use like that, it is kind of predicting the future for you, that you're going to watch for those opportunities. The other thing that's going to happen is that as you're exercising that genre of love,
right,
that day, you're going to find people that really, really like that love language that you're practicing that day.
Yeah.
The way you find it, you don't have to hand them a survey and say, could you just fill this out so I know how to love you? It's not a survey anymore. They'll light up.
Yeah. There's only 6 sides, right? There are only 6 sides on this thing. So, naturally, each side will be repeated over and over and over again.
Right.
Is there a mechanism that if I'm using that tool, I can evaluate? Okay, did well today? You're saying we could use that book that you have in order to make a report, to keep a journal.
That's right. A love journal. So it's a purposeful journal. Who would not have loved to have a journal from their mother or their grandmother or their grandfather about love, about what they loved in their life, what there was to love, and then what they did about those things that they loved. This is that kind of journal.
But Paul, I'm in psychology, and I note that we have different love language. Even the definition of love, we define love differently, and that creates a problem in relationships as well. Because how your spouse define love is different from how you define love. So there need to be a compromise, sort of understanding and compromise. So with that tool, when you try to use the concept that you have that chance with today, so to speak, is it that it's not natural for it to be well accepted by the persons or person that you came into contact with throughout that day?
It's very likely that you may not hit on a love language that they're familiar with.
You're right.
But that's not you have no control over that, Dr. White. So we're talking about things that you have control over.
Okay.
All you have control over is giving that love away. Okay. So the whole exercise over a 30-day period, you're absolutely right, Dr. White, that you'll be kind of uncomfortable giving some of those love languages away because it's not your primary love language.
Yeah.
Normally what people do is they'll give their primary love language away in hopes of reciprocation. This is not like that.
Okay.
This is giving love away without any expectation of it coming back. But you're giving it away in several different ways. Over a 30-day period, you're going to know how to give it away in all 5 love languages.
Okay.
All 5 formats. So what I like to call those people after they've done that, then they know all 5 love languages to give it away, is a love language linguist.
I like that.
Sexy title. You want it. I know you want it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that title. Just think of this, Dr. White. If you had that title on your resume and you're going in for a job interview, love language linguist, what is that? And you're going to say, I just love people.
Yeah.
And the employer's going to say, well, I need my customers' love, and I want loving people within my workplace. Your resume's either going to rise to the top, or you're going to get that job.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a love language linguist within their workspace.
Yeah, definitely. It's important. I am also an organizational behaviorist, and I understand the importance of that sort of a love language being exerted within the workplace. The sort of a love language that will enhance productivity, right? The trust, the care, the understanding among workers. But look, the benefits for school, Paul. I used to be a dean of discipline at a high school in Jamaica, and I note that the discipline, the challenges that students have among themselves as it relates to violence in the school and so on. How can the school use that tool, this system, to improve discipline within the school and to eradicate school gangs and school violence?
I love that question. Thank you, Dr. White, for asking that. I've talked with several teachers and the school districts, and the whole idea is that in the younger grades, the boys have cooties according to girls, and the girls have cooties according to the boys. Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of split that up, so they don't want the cooties all mixed up. So I would provide a die to the boys in the class and one to the girls in the class.
Okay.
And then at the beginning of the day, as a group, boys rolling their die, girls rolling their die, they would roll the die at the beginning of the day. How long does it take? 2 seconds. All day long, they're watching for opportunities to love in that way. At the end of the day, the last 10 to 15 minutes of the day, as an educator, they're antsy. It's non-productive time.
Yeah.
During that time, though, I would provide them a PDF of the journal page. So I can get that up there.
Okay.
A PDF of that journal page, and have them write what did they love. Yeah, I can bring that back up.
Yeah.
So what did they love? What did they roll that day? What opportunities to love did they see that day? And then what did they do about those opportunities?
Right.
So what it becomes is a reporting system of how did that child love. Not only becomes a reporting system, but an accountability and a journal for that child. That child would love to have a love journal. I would love to have a journal of what I did in first grade. What did I
Right.
do in second grade? What did I do in third grade? How did I learn to love? And so it's taught in the home, maybe, but definitely it could be taught in the school. I
Yeah.
really, I really think it would tamp down all that violence and all that misbehaving that's happening within
Yeah.
the school system. Just teach them how to love and teach them that this is part of the curriculum. And it doesn't
Okay.
take much. At the beginning of the day, 2 seconds. At the end of the day, let's make those last 10 to 15 minutes of the day productive by
Yeah.
having them report how did they love that day.
So you'll include it in the curriculum, right?
Make it part of the curriculum.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's interesting. I'm hoping that those principals listening to Can Use Exploration, your topic in a podcast, will try to contact Paul and see if you can get this implemented into your school. And the policymakers as well may want to try this out. I am Dr. Can Use White talking to Paul Zolman. Paul, you're an author. This tool has its theory as well, right? A book.
Correct.
Tell me more about that book because let me get it here. Yeah, tell me more about that book.
So this book is entitled The Role of Love, which I own the trademark. Obviously, I own the copyright for The Role of Love. It tells the story, the backstory of the dice itself, and it has several stories of people that have used it. In fact, you talked about children. We talked about children just a minute ago. I tested this with a family. There was 5 children in the family, and the youngest was just a 4-year-old boy. One day, he rolled this. He rolled physical touch.
Yeah.
And he jumps up and down and says, "Yes, fist pumping. Yes, physical touch," and immediately started beating up on his brothers. Started beating his brothers up. And the mother was trying to suppress the laughter because she thought it was funny, and it's kind of funny, but it was a great opportunity for that mother to teach that child, that's not appropriate. Let me show you what is appropriate physical touch.
Yeah.
And the same thing, if a 4-year-old who doesn't read yet can understand this, oops, the other way.
Right, let me get it there. Yeah.
So if a 4-year-old can understand something like that, then adults should be able to understand it well. You don't have to read. You don't have to speak any language. Each one of these icons on the die are self-explanatory.
Yeah.
They will tell you what to do that day. Watch for opportunities. In this case, watch for opportunities to spend time with one another.
Right.
Put the brakes on a little bit and just slow down, spend some time, just enjoy the relationship.
Interesting. But you talk about the role of love, right? And I read somewhere on your platform where it was said each day is full of new adventures, new topics, and new fun ways to express love to those who cross your path. And you have alluded to that, right? And I've actually suggested to you that it might not be the same every day, which you perhaps agree. But what are you really saying there? Talk some more on this. If you kind of speak to the impact of your tool.
So to talk a little bit about this, what I want to refer back to is that remember when I was talking about all the vocabulary, all the activities, all the things that you would do as far as abuse.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that you're doing it, like I denied it for several years, if you don't know that you're doing it, then how are you going to change? So you kind of have to find on a spectrum. Let's say this is a little spectrum here. On one end of the spectrum, you'll find anger. On the other end of the spectrum, you can name it whatever you want, but I named it love. So most of my operation was on the angry end of the spectrum. Okay. All of my vocabulary was here. So you need to learn the vocabulary of love, and you need to learn what activities would promote that type of love. So it's that's the transformation. That's the daily learning that you're doing. And I have suggestions
Yeah,
within the book.
yeah,
There are several suggestions of
right,
how do you practice touch appropriately. Obviously, you don't want to have anybody say it's sexual harassment or anything like that. So
yeah.
there's a high five, there's the fist bump. I mean, there are a lot of different ways that you can have touch, but and have it be appropriate touch.
Paul, you're a believer,
I am.
right? And we understand the concept of forgiveness and the context of the believers, and also the fact that that spectrum, that continuum that you showed, one extreme is anger, and the other one is love, right? But is it easy? Is it that easy to let go? Because you're talking about letting go anger. Is it that easy to let go? Why would you think that it will work? Because I can easily let go my anger, my
You know
bitterness.
what? That's a really good question, Dr. White. And I think that the quick answer to that is no, it's not easy to let go. It really is not. But what I found is that the rolling the die and doing what it said and watching for those opportunities all day long kept me so busy that I didn't have time. I had zero time to think. I had zero time to get upset.
Yeah, yeah,
And as I keep doing it every single day, you still are kept so busy.
yeah,
Every day is a new adventure, as I mentioned, because you're meeting new people. You're watching for what can I help that person? How can I uplift that person? How can I make that person have a happier day? What can I do or say that would help that person
yeah,
just be happy?
yeah. You know, as a counselor slash psychotherapist, I know that, and I would say to my client, counseling doesn't always work. You know why? You have to make it work. You,
Right.
the clients, have to make it work. Would you apply this to your tool in practice?
Absolutely. And the reason this works, counseling, you'll have an appointment maybe today and maybe a week later or maybe 2 weeks later. And you've got all that space and time. And then once it becomes that day again, you'll say, oh crap, I've got an appointment with my counselor. I got to hurry up and get ready and you go. And you go there, you sit there for the hour and then you have all this nice talk and then you may not do nothing till the next time you have an appointment.
Yeah.
This is totally different.
Okay.
This is intentional. This is something that whoever wants to change can change. Take the 2 seconds, take the time to roll the die at the beginning of the day, every day, every day, and watch the transformation. If you're determined to do that, I guarantee that the transformation is going to come. Your mindset will have that huge paradigm shift. No longer will you be looking at anger as an outlet for yourself. You'll watch for opportunities to love, knowing that you got to send it out. So I compare it to maybe putting money in the bank,
Yeah.
or investment or a piggy bank,
Right.
so to speak. Every time you send out love, you're putting money in the piggy bank, and someday that return's going to come on that investment. Someday, trust the process; it will come. And don't ever stop worrying about. Well, I told you what my love language is. Why aren't you doing it? And the whiny voices are gone. The pity parties are gone. You're not doing that. You're not worried about what other people are doing. You're choosing to make this something that you're going to do. It's your choice.
Yeah. You know, before I ask you where we can get this diet and books and so on, relationship. You know, many places over this world, relationships are failing. Marriages are broken up, breaking up, and it's crazy what I've been reading and seeing in certain institutions. Your tool should be critical to save marriages. Talk to me about that.
Most marriages that are failing, and I've had 2 failed marriages myself.
Yeah.
What I've found happens is that one person thinks it's all about them.
Yeah.
This dice is it's never about you. Never. I mean, that's hard. That's kind of hard to swallow. That it's never going to be about you. It's always about them. And when a marriage or any type of relationship has that type of foundation, that they're always working to help that person feel loved, help that person on their way, help that person have a better day. When it's always about them, you get blessed for what you do, and they get blessed. This is a game, Dr. White.
Yeah.
This is a game that everybody wins.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Everybody wins, and there's not many games like that. Everybody likes to win.
Yeah.
But this is a game that everybody does win.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, since I'm on that, I'm still going to find out where you get this tool. But how it works for single people. I mean, we talk about married couple.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a really good question too, and I'm glad you asked that, because I developed this when I was single.
Yeah.
I was still single. I hadn't married, didn't get married to that lady that I took to my brother. I wasn't married to her at the time. I did eventually marry her, but I did not. I was single, and this is when I developed this tool.
Yeah.
So this works because it's not Dr. Chapman would have you think that it's only significant others. To me, that was just a part-time job.
Yeah.
You are not around your significant others full time.
Yeah, that's
you either go to work or you're somewhere else. You're away from them. So to have love really be a mindset change in you, you've got to do it all day long, all day. There are no breaks. There's no retirement. There's no giving up. There's nothing like that. This has to be a life choice that I'm just going to send love out. I know that someday, and trust and know that someday it's coming back to me.
Okay, fine. Where do we find it?
So the Roll of Love is rolloflove.com, and I want to just distinguish. ROLL is to roll the die. Yeah. ROLL.
Right.
This will change you. ROLE, rolloflove.com.
Okay. All right. I have here /page/contact, but it's really the Roll of Love. ROLEOFLOVE.com. Yeah, that's your website. All right. I got you. You know, I have two more questions to ask, really, because as I said to you, I'm an organizational behaviorist as well. The workplace. We talk about the school. What about the workplace? How your tool work in the workplace?
In the workplace, this works really well too. Just like I'd mentioned, that employer that sees love language linguist on top of that resume wants that person. They want loving people. They don't want contention in the workplace. Really, it makes productivity go just down.
Yeah.
So if people are bickering or they're fighting one with another, and one person's trying to one up another person, and they're trying to jockey for position and that sort of thing, there's a better way.
Yeah.
And it's just expressing kindness, and just the person that expresses the kindness is the person that really should get the job.
Yeah.
If you've got kind people leading an organization, that's going to filter down. That there'll be kind customer service.
Yeah.
It'll be kind. There'll be kindness within the community of the workplace.
Yeah.
That's the type of atmosphere that most people want to work in. That type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Just in the past, Dr. White, think of any boss that you may have had that was mean.
Yeah.
Then think of a boss that was kind. Which one did you want to work for more?
The kind one.
Always the kind one.
Yeah.
Always that person that was specifically so kind to you. So absolutely, in the workplace, this should be practiced.
Right. Yeah. I love that. So those of you who are managers or organizational leaders watching, listening to Can Youth Exploration, your topic in the podcast, go ahead and find Paul's website. It will be in the description, and reach out to him, get those tools, and for your employees, orientation and so on. Look, Paul, mental health. I want to go there for a while. I take mental health seriously, right? And what mental health professionals are saying about your tool, because as a mental health practitioner, I love to use tools in my sessions.
Mhm.
I love to use papers, the practical sessions I love to have. I love to use your tool, that you have described in my sessions from time to time. Oh, what are they saying about it? Have they been
Uh,
using your tool?
Dr. White, I love how you introduced that too, because the gardener has his tools, the mechanic has his tools,
Yeah,
but there are not very many tools for loving out there.
yeah,
This is a tool that's very simple, it's very effective, and it's so easy that even small children can understand this tool.
yeah,
So from mental health professional state, this is something that would work for any one of your clients to move them off the trauma that they might be feeling, to move them away from the recurring thoughts that they might have about that trauma, move them to a better thought spot, a better place that they can focus on love. When you're focused on something, it changes. It's like actors on a stage.
yeah,
You can only see the you can only sing one song at a time. I don't know if you've ever tried to sing two songs at the same time. Nobody can do it.
no,
It's
no, no,
it,
no.
so this is like that. As you're focusing on love, you're focusing on love, and you're forgetting about those other things that may disturb you or may upset you, or might cause that mental health to be compromised. Love is one of those type of things that really heals.
Yeah,
It'll heal you inside for the good that you feel as you're doing good for other people.
yeah,
I found that really early on in my life. One point in time, I went to a rest home because I was kind of feeling down. I went to the rest home and did some volunteering. I found a
yeah,
guy that was had been a heavyweight champion wrestler in the 30s,
yeah,
and he had had a stroke, and he was a Navajo Indian, could not write because of a stroke.
right.
So I would go there and write letters.
Okay.
And then at the end of the letter, he'd say, and again, we come to the end of an old Navajo trail. And that's just how he ended his letters. But I would sneak a can of root beer. He absolutely loved root beer. And I would sneak a can of root beer into him, and it would absolutely make his day. When we have a mindset that I'm going to make your day, Dr. White, I'm going to be the best part of your day. I'm going to do my best to make your day the happiest day ever. When we've got that mindset, it's all about them. It's all about other people. We get out of our pity party, which kind of is part of what mental health is all about. We get out of that pity party and look to others. If we can successfully get outside like that, find someone that's down and out more than we are, it will lift our spirits and it will lift their spirits all at the same time.
Hey,
That and mental health, as far as mental health professionals, the first inside the book, the first person that endorsed the book was, in fact, he was a mental health. He was the guy that inspired me to write the book. He said the love languages are really a kind of it's something that needs to update it. And he
yeah,
told me that early last year. And so I wrote the book. I had the book in me. I wrote it within 6 weeks, and then editing and the cover and everything else took a lot longer than even writing the book.
yeah.
So I had the book, and so now we've got this. I published it this year, became an international bestseller just a couple months ago.
yeah. I love that. I love that. Hey guys, you listen, you watch, and you understand what Paul is saying about this love language thing. And I have learned a lot, and I'm sure that you will learn a lot once you have listened. You would have learned a lot once you have listened, and your friends will also learn a lot if you share, if you subscribe, and also find um, Paul's website, talk to him, contact him, talk to him, and find out how you can spread the love. Yeah, spread the love language.
Absolutely.
Yeah, spread it in your organization, spread it in the school, spread it in your community. Most importantly, spread it in your family. Thanks for coming, Paul. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you so much, Dr. White.
Bye bye. So that was Paul. You heard him. He have said so much, that you would be happy talking about making you happy. Yeah, you would be happy to know that you have this tool so that you can use to spread love language and to make your life better. Because the more love you spread, I tell you this, the happier you will be. www.rolloflove.com. Find his website, ROLEOFLOVE.com. Talk to Paul now. All right, you take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.